Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Y'all? I never realized. Anyways, happy Thanksgiving. I don't typically make specials, only for Halloween, because it's time to talk about spooky stuff. And Valentine's Day, since like 80% of the webtoons I read have some aspect of romance in it. Meanwhile, I never really know what to do for Christmas and my favorite holiday, Thanksgiving. But due to school projects, a holiday, hanging out with friends and family, and emotional stuff, I've found my time this week very slightly limited. So I decided to convert a ShyChef shortcut into a normal video, and it gives me a chance to talk about something I'm thankful for. This channel, you guys, and of course, Webtoons. Now, November 9th, the Webtoon official Instagram posts this. A simple picture with 4 Webtoons, and underneath the Webtoon logo, the word Studios. And the Webtoons behind it are Lore Olympus, Cursed Princess Club, I Am the Grim Reaper, and of course, Unordinary. The caption underneath states, "It's huge! More Webtoon favorites will come to life in films and TV series. Tell us below what you'd like to see in live action. Link in the bio." And that link takes you to the Webtoon site itself, which is a weird way to phrase it. Now, I have mentioned before that I love when Webtoons get recognition and attention outside of the Webtoon community. Tower of God, God of High School, Noblesse, even though I never read most of these, and I'm not caught up in any of them, I'm really happy that they got and are getting anime adaptations. Or when Lore Olympus and the Jim Henson Company said they're gonna do a young adult animated series. Or when Third Shift Society got nominated for an Eisner Award. I'm proud of these creators getting the attention they deserve. People who put a lot of time, effort, and care into things they care about. Which brings us to Webtoon Studios. And 2 questions. One that I'm answering, and one that I'm posing. What is Webtoon Studios and how is it gonna work? Now, before we start, we need to compare Webtoon Studios to the other Webtoon properties that have been made into shows. Now, many of you might question, why are you saying shows when there have been only a couple of animes released so far? Well, that's because there are a couple of Webtoons that got K-dramas. In 2015, Orange Marmalade got a K-drama, and in 2016, Cheese in the Trap got one too. The latter of which is actually still on Netflix. So if you want to watch that, then you should know that Cheese in the Trap ended this year. So that K-drama ended before the Webtoon ended. So they have different endings. And boy is it mediocre. But moving on, you might also question, what do you mean, what is Webtoon Studios gonna do? You read the description, and that I did. But I want to draw attention to one thing. Live action. Let's talk business for a sec. The 3 Webtoons that got/are getting an anime were partnered with Crunchyroll, the sushi, but also the anime site. Since this was a partnership, you need to understand the responsibilities of each partner. Now, I have no actual idea what this business agreement is like, but this is what I can gather/assume. Webtoons provide the Webtoon IB and likely some input on decisions. Meanwhile, Crunchyroll is tasked with the hard part, animating it and finding voice actors and all the production stuff. And it's likely they share in the profits and viewership. People who only read Webtoons start watching more anime, and people who only watch anime find out about Webtoons. The issue is now, what are they doing? A Webtoon Studios imply that they own it and they're gonna make their own films. So where are they publishing this? What are they gonna do? How are they gonna make these? Well, going back to the live action thing, I had a hunch on which Webtoon will start out, but they announced it already because I was too late to release this video. Before we get into what's actually gonna happen, I wanted to talk about what I thought was gonna happen. I assumed, I think fairly, that they would start out with a Webtoon that was in the background of one of these. The 4 Webtoons that were here. Lore Olympus, I Am the Grim Reaper, Cursed Princess Club, and Unordinary. And out of these Webtoons, I thought they were gonna do Lore Olympus. My evidence was that last month, Webtoon hosted a sort of challenge. The Webtoon audition tape. We really should have seen this coming. Anyways, it asked us as readers to cosplay as Lore Olympus characters and even read some dialogue. And low-key, there were some really good jobs. Even if I didn't like the person that did Hades, but that's my opinion. You can see these on the Webtoon Instagram accounts or just under the Webtoon audition tape tag. And that's what I wanted to bring my attention to. Live action, with a couple of questions. First, where is this going to be filmed? The Webtoon headquarters in America is in California. However, the main Webtoon's headquarters is in South Korea. I couldn't find the popularity of it in the United States versus the popularity of it in Korea, but since it originated in Korea, it's likely that the Korean Webtoon fanbase is larger. However, I would like to believe that it would be filmed in California. The main reason is diversity. Well, basically every Webtoon that became live action is a K-drama, and even the True Beauty one that's coming out is going to be a K-drama, which I might watch. I stopped reading True Beauty, I don't know. I'm not sure how faithful they want to stay, which is why I thought they would have started with Lore Olympus. Now, every main character has a colored skin tone. However, most of the humans have a darker skin tone. Meanwhile, On Ordinary doesn't have any characters with darker skin tones. Since it's supposed to be like a manga, and a lot of mangas don't typically portray characters with darker skin tones, I guess. I don't know. So my question is, how faithful are they going to be? One of these webtoons doesn't have anyone with a natural light skin tone. Meanwhile, the other one doesn't have one without a natural light skin tone. If they film it in Korea, it's unlikely they can stay 100% faithful, mainly due to said diversity. And that's just Lore Olympus. There are a lot of other webtoon characters that have slightly darker skin tones. Even Cursed Princess Club have some with slightly darker skin tones. Moving on, let's talk about set dressing. An Ordinary is pretty basic, but Lore Olympus and Cursed Princess Club have some pretty extravagant settings. Cursed Princess Club has pretty basic locations, but extravagant buildings, most of which are literal castles. Meanwhile, the buildings in Lore Olympus are relatively basic, being some nice houses, some workplaces, some schools, gardens, but the actual locations seem wondrous. Mainly the underworlds. How it's almost like a city that's constantly at night. That sounds really basic when I say it out loud. Oh. Also, let's talk about effects. One of the reasons I thought they would go for Lore Olympus first was because of effects. In On Ordinary, all the students have super flashy powers that would be difficult to incorporate. Meanwhile, Lore Olympus has enough flashy powers that it would be a good way to start, a good way to reel people in, like, wow, look at all this stuff. But there would also be multiple episodes with nothing but talking and character development. But, like I said, that's what I thought was going to be first. Apparently, the first webtoon that they're going to make is Sweet Home. Sweet Home. It's going to be on Netflix. Sometime in December. I didn't write this down, mainly because I just kind of read about it when the script was already done and kind of like, oh, dang it, that's like 80% of my script. Whatever, I'll just do it anyways. Sweet Home is going to be on Netflix in December, and I have not read Sweet Home. And I don't know if it's likely that I am going to watch it, but I do have another question that will relate to this later. But I do have one more question. Who are they making these for? The Webtoon community, sure, yeah. But do you want to watch something you've already read, but just in live action? I've been against the Disney live action remakes for the longest time. There's just something about seeing a thing go from great to not as great as bothered me. It's comparable to comics, sure. However, the movies based on comics, while heavily lift concepts from comics, typically tell their own story. Meanwhile, I get animated things, because it's a lot like an actual webtoon just coming to life. However, in live action, there are a lot of variables you might not have control over. Some people might not like how certain characters were adapted. Some might not like the actors themselves. There's no way you can find a John, a Seraphina, a Hades, a Persephone. These characters are themselves already, and it's difficult to find someone who can portray them. And don't worry, I'm definitely gonna try and watch these. And mainly because this hobby has become a hobby that pays me a little bit. But I think only like hardcore fans would want to watch it. Watching a show or a film versus reading a couple chapters of a webtoon are two completely different scenarios. I can read a webtoon wherever I am. However, to watch a show, I need to make sure I'm in the mood to sit down for 30 minutes with headphones so I don't disturb people, and I really need to pay attention. Especially if it's a K-drama, because I don't speak Korean, if you haven't noticed. so I have to pay attention to the subtitles, and so on and so forth. Not to mention, it's gonna be a show that I've already seen. So why watch it? Why should I care about Webtoon Studios? This is the question I had while writing this script. Why would people who are just kind of into Webtoons, watch something that they've already read? And this is where I started to think. Webtoons. I'm well aware you're not watching this, but let's pretend you are. Do you know what I think you should do? You should make 2 different types of films and shows. The direct adaptation, which is just the webtoon coming to live action, pulling everything from the webtoon into the show. The dialogue, the scenarios, the setting, everything. But you should also do a type of show that expands on the world. For example, Unordinary. If Unordinary comes to live action, do the Unordinary storyline. Focus on John, Serafina, Arlo, Remy, Aizen, Blake. Focus on the Ember storyline too, yes. But you should also make more of Ray's storyline. Continue his rise to be king of Wellston, or show him being the vigilante ecstatic. Imagine doing the Lore Olympus storyline, but also the Rebellion, or Hades starting his business, or Persephone's early life. The point is that they should work with the author to expand the stories, making shows and films that weren't in the original storyline. And so, they expand the work, the story, and this way, they make people more interested in the show. Since it's more than just the story we've already read, you can hook people with, hey, look, this is what happens with Ray, or hey, look, this is how Ember was started. And by doing that, they realize how good of a job you've done with everything else, and they want to watch the Unordinary live action, or the Lore Olympus live action, or the new Sweet Home live action that's coming out that I'm gonna watch. But it's unlikely that Webtoons is watching this, so it's unlikely that's gonna happen. I just kind of wish that was gonna happen. But that brings me back to the thing I said at the beginning. 2 questions. The first question, which spun off into multiple questions, but that was, what is Webtoon Studios and what were they gonna be/do? How is it gonna work? The second question is for you guys. Do you guys want these live action shows? And my question specifically, do you want me to talk about these live action shows? I never do reviews, mainly because I feel like they're not my style. I don't like criticizing work that I don't think I could have done. Also, I might not like these shows, and I don't want my videos to be really negative. I watched a couple episodes of Cheese in the Trap, and I can point out a lot of things that I don't like already. I don't want my videos to be a place where we hate on things. That's not what I set out to do. I wanted to set out to make a place where we can talk about things we really like. Have a community or a place where we talk about things no one else talks about. I think by having a place where we talk about the positives of the Webtoon community, I think I made this place for more positive things. I don't want to talk trash about people who try their best to make an original Webtoon or original story or original tale or whatever. But if you want me to do reviews, I would be willing to. I'll be willing to try. And I promise I won't be really negative, just a little bit negative. I'll point out the things I don't like. So let me know what you guys want. Like I said, I'm thankful for Webtoons, but for this channel and for you guys. You guys run this channel. I just make the content you want. You decide the future of this. You made my small little channel that talked about some K-dramas and a video game in Parks and Rec into a channel that talks about Webtoons and what's so great about them. You made this small hobby into a part-time job. You guys control this place. So let me know what you want in the description below. And, like always, thank you for watching, and have a good Thanksgiving.